Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming back to my channel. So today marks the first of the new series in the spiritual training. And I'm recording right now with my MacBook, and as you can see, the lighting is not great. I'm going to work on that for the rest of the videos, but for today, I'm kind of in a time crunch. And I wanted to get this reading out. And the reason why I'm using this particular method for recording is because when I use my iPhone or my iPad and I show the card, it's always reversed. So I just need to figure something else out. I do have a camera, and I just need to get that worked out. So anyway, just for today, it's going to look like this, and I will work out the lighting issues. So anyway, you should be able to hear me okay. So as long as you can get the message, I think that should do for this first time. So I've got the energy reading for this particular week of November the 5th. And we've got a really exciting week coming up. There's a lot of solar activity going on right now with the solar flares. And there's also the 11/11 portal. This particular Sunday is really powerful because we have November the 11th, which is 11/11, and this is considered an 11 year. So 2018, if you add it all up, it equals 11. 2 plus 1 plus 8 is 11. So it's an 11/11/11 portal, which is supposedly really, really powerful in terms of manifesting, shifting, changing, all of those wonderful things. So I'm going to get right into the reading for this week. And it's kind of interesting, the cards that have come up. So we'll see how this resonates. As always, take what works and makes sense for you and leave the rest behind. Okay, if something doesn't make sense, it's not meant for you. Okay, so part of the reading might apply, all of it might apply, or none of it might apply, and that's okay. Whatever it works, just take what message you need and leave the rest. So as far as the situation is concerned, we did get the Hanged Man. This is in the traditional tarot. This is the number 12. It's called the Hanged Man. In this particular deck, it's called Sacrifice. And the Hanged Man in traditional tarot is all about surrendering, and it's all about seeing things from a different perspective. The imagery on that traditional card is the guy's hanging upside down. And so, of course, you're going to see things differently when you're upside down than when you're right side up. In this particular deck, like I said, it's called Sacrifice. And, the situation right now is that you might feel that you're making a sacrifice in order to be in any relationship or situation that you're in right now. You feel like you're sacrificing something for someone else, is what I'm getting from Spirit. The action card is the heart chakra. So what this tells us is that, that there's a heart chakra activation that needs to take place. And in most cases, what that means is that there's some forgiveness work that needs to be done. So, with the action card being heart chakra, there's this great, which is interesting because if you look at the image here, this almost looks like a, Pacific Islander, and the great process called Ho'oponopono, which is, it's a forgiveness exercise that was created by Dr. Liu, who really, if you've never heard of this, you should definitely look it up because it's a really powerful forgiveness exercise. And it's 4 sentences. It's basically, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and have one of the other videos for this week, specifically on that exercise, so that I don't take up a whole lot of time on this particular video doing that exercise. But this is definitely a call because the heart chakra is where we hold grief. It's also where we can have some unforgiveness. So When we look at the heart chakra, this is always about relationships with others. And since our action card is, sacrifice, and we feel like the message from Spirit is that we're feeling like we're sacrificing something in order to be where we are right now, then it means that there's something stuck in our heart chakra that we have to release that needs to be forgiven. Okay. And so the outcome card is the Ace of Cups. And this makes perfect sense because this is a brand new beginning in love, you see? So if we're feeling like we are sacrificing and we do some forgiveness work, it will clear out your heart chakra so that you do have this new beginning in love. So that makes absolute perfect sense. Okay. The overall theme for this reading this week is the Nine of Swords. And as you can see, the Nine of Swords at the bottom here, it says suffering and silence. And this makes sense too, because if we're feeling like we're sacrificing, then we're probably creating some anxiety, some worry, some nightmare, staying up at night. This is the anxiety and worry card. And so it just feels like for the collective right now, for anyone who's watching this video, that you're feeling anxiety and worry, and you're having sleepless nights, and you're having perhaps even nightmares or bad dreams about whatever situation it is that you feel like you're sacrificing for. Okay, so the internal energy that we have for this week, we got contract. And what I'm getting from this card is that it's time to make a decision. That you notice that this is, the image here is this lady, Justice, holding the scales. And it's like, you need to make a decision. It's almost like there's an internal stuckness that you aren't sure which is the right choice. And Spirit is saying you can't do it wrong. Okay? I really want you to know that. You can't do it wrong. Whatever it is that you decide that path you want to take, there's a blessing in it. There's a lesson, there's a blessing, there's advancement in whatever way. So, just know that you can't do it wrong, and that might help relieve some of this stress and anxiety, some of this worry. The external energy that we're dealing with this week is door to Spirit, which is interesting because, as we're fighting this internal battle or the ego, Spirit on the outside is nudging us to just release and surrender. That there's this new beginning in love if we can just learn to do some forgiveness work. And, what I love about the idea of forgiveness is, Spirit's always saying, well, we don't do forgiveness. And so then you say, well, why not? And it's because they're not busy condemning anyone. You see, if we're not condemning anyone or ourselves, then we don't have to do any forgiveness, you see. And they're not in that process. They're not in that place of ever condemning anyone. And so they don't have to do this forgiveness. But because we, have these ego selves, this, human body that we are masked in during this experience, we oftentimes come against those kinds of situations that do require some forgiveness. So it is important to go and release that. And, door to Spirit to me is all about understanding that we are all one and connecting to the oneness. So the numerology card that we have this week is financial discipline. And what's interesting is what I'm getting from this is that the sacrifice or this fear and anxiety right now is really having to do with finances. There's somebody, either yourself or someone in your experience, who's not doing what you would perceive as the right thing financially. And remember, this is what's also important about this contract. We all have our own lessons to learn. We're all in our own soul mission, and we're all here to learn and experience things in whatever way we contracted to. Everyone has a soul contract. And we contracted to these lessons and experiences before we got here. And it's really important to remember that, okay? Because when we don't let people finish their karmic cycle, we interrupt their soul contract and we keep them stuck. So sometimes the sacrifice that we have to make is to just let go, is to let them deal with things on their own and not try to solve the problem for them. Which brings us to the next card, which is flexible. You know, what I like about this particular card is that it reminds us that, for example, let's just use the number 9. You know, there's a lot of ways to get to 9. You can do 8 plus 1. You can do 7 plus 2, 6 plus 3, 5 plus 4, and so forth. So it's like, just because you might do 7 plus 2 doesn't mean that's the only way to get to 9. And so this is just a reminder that because we all are dealing with our own karmic cycles, our own contracts, that it's important to be flexible with how people want to manage their experience. And your way works for you, but it might not necessarily work for everyone in your family, which is the chakra card that we got, which is family. So this really just aligns for me that the challenges that we're dealing with this week are family related, and that it is, you know, we are feeling like we've made this sacrifice. And we do need to do some forgiveness work. You know, we need to be forgiving them, forgiving ourselves, forgiving past experiences, and so forth. So, you know, what's nice about this particular reading is that there's a lot of additional messages here that we can look at this particular week. So I'm excited about these cards. I would love to hear your comments or questions, because if you submit any comments or questions about this particular reading, I can address them. I haven't recorded the additional videos yet, so I can address them in those videos if you let me know. So please be sure to speak up, comment, share, like, subscribe, you know, all of those wonderful things we do with social media. So let me know what questions you might have about this particular reading, that as it might relate to you, so that I can address those things specifically in the videos for the rest of this week. So thank you so much for watching, and tune in tomorrow where we'll talk more about this forgiveness work and the Ho'oponopono process. I'm sending you so much love for this week. Namaste.